Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer at the Action Network. I'm joined by Sean Little. You can find him on Twitter at Chicago Flow. He's at MSG Networks. He is an overly confident Chicago Bears fan. And today, we're going to do NBA title price finder. I've been looking forward to this. If you missed it with the awards ones that we did, I stole this concept outright, just ganked it from Mina Kimes and her great podcast, The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny. It's a great format, I think, for us in particular. The idea here is that I'm gonna give Sean two options between the teams at the top that I think are a combination of most likely to win the title and what the best price is. And we're gonna go through and he gets to choose. So if I keep asking him about a certain team and he's like, nope, they'll just keep falling down and we'll see where they wind up. We're going to go through that and get a list for where the best value is to win the NBA title this season. And I'll tell you, this is usually a market that I have not a lot of interest in preseason, given how much can change. But when I started looking at the implied numbers for some of these figures in the market, I was pretty impressed with it. You can find all of our bets that we talk about today in the award-winning Action Network app. You can track your picks. You can get Brandon Anderson's instant best bets with a pro subscription, as well as Sean Kerner, who has been liquid fire this season on NFL. Same thing for Chris Raybon. You're going to want to sign up for the pro subscription. You can check out a podcast version, a video version of this podcast at youtube.com/the Action Network. Buckets Live will be starting the first week of the season. We will be doing nightly. We're going to have bigger picture conversations this season that also dive into, okay, we talked about this big thing that happened. How do we bet this now? And then we'll also give you the best bets each and every night. Hope you guys are along with us for the ride. All right, Sean Little, now that you're past basking in the glow of what was a completely horseshit win by the Bears over the Los Angeles Rams, are you ready for NBA title price finder?
I'm ready, man. Go watch the film. Good team win from the Chicago Bears.
Oh, my God. All right, let's start right at the top because they are the defending champions and they are projected with the highest win total in the league. We got to start there. The Celtics' best price in the market is plus 340. That's a 22.7% implied. I'm going to give you the new kings of the Western Conference, the team everyone is so high on, including me. The number one seed last season, they added Alex Caruso. They added Isaiah Hartenstein. The Oklahoma City Thunder at plus 700. That's 12.5 implied. So Celtics plus 340 or Thunder plus 700. If you had to bet, which one of these is the better bet?
Yeah, let's really quick, because I know we have a lot to get through, but I do want to talk about the Celtics being almost close to a full $4 favorite ahead of the market. They're, as Matt mentioned, plus 340. Thunder are around 7-1, Knicks 8-1, Sixers 10-1. But this is the third straight year Celtics coming in as the favorite. Per Basketball Reference last year, both the Celtics and Nuggets were plus 450, right? I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen this big of a favorite, and I just assumed it was going to be the Warriors. So I went back and looked it up. Last time the margin was this big for a favorite coming into the year was 2018, 2019. The Warriors were minus 168 to win the title. And the Raptors actually won the title. They were 18.5-1, went 58-24. So you don't really see numbers this big when it comes to preseason favorites coming into the year. But as we talked about all last year, the Celtics were just a special group overall and were mispriced the entire year. But I say that to say I have to go with the Thunder here at 7-1 purely on the price finder. Matt, I looked and thought and scrubbed 3.5. There's some spots I saw in the market are a flat plus 300 on the Celtics to win the title, and that is absurd. Coming into a league where we know how many different things can happen and how much parity there is across the rest of the future board. So I got to go Thunder. I'll take the 7 plus 700, get the best number you can. But they lost dead weight and added good weight. Caruso in, Giddey out. They signed Isaiah Hartenstein for a much-needed big to play along Chet. And I think Hartenstein is an underrated creator. He's great in the dribble handoff. He has this little push jumper that I saw on the Knicks night in and night out go through. And when he was out, offensively, a team that needed help offensively to support Jalen Brunson, they really missed Hartenstein. He created more than a lot of people realize. So I'll take the Thunder, and then we'll talk more about the Celtics in this pod, I'm sure.
Okay, look, I can't blame you. The Celtics regular season floor is so high. There's more variance with OKC, and they play in the tougher conference. That's why you're seeing this plus 700, right? Is like that reflects, I think, both a difference in power rating right off the bat, and then also there's kind of this idea of like, well, okay, OKC did it once, but they're still super young. They made the second round. They didn't make a conference finals. They'd have to go 2 more rounds in order to win this, and they are facing the conference that everyone respects so much, which I think is kind of interesting when you kind of look at how much uncertainty there is at the top, especially after the Karl Anthony Towns trade. Like, we now have the Wolves changed a starter and the Nuggets lost a starter. So, like, there's just like a lot of change here to kind of evaluate. All right, so OKC goes number 1 on Price Finder at plus 700.
And really quick here, Matt, I think you said the West is the the tougher conference, and maybe it's a little more even in that aspect. But last time the East had 3 of the top 4 favorites was 11 years ago, 2013, 2014. Heat, Bulls, Nets. And that's what we're looking at this year. I know it's tied in that 10-1 range for the 3rd slot, but 3 of the 4 are from the East. Last time that happened was 11 years ago.
Wow, it shows you the difference there. All right, so Thunder go first here at plus 700. Let's go, and let's take Boston plus 340. And let's go your New York Knicks. The big old boys from the Big Apple. Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges. They're going for it. They're plus 800, only a buck behind the Thunder here. All right, that's 11% implied for the Knicks. Celtics plus 340 or Knicks plus 800. Who you got?
I got the Celtics here ahead of the New York Knickerbockers. There's not much to say overall about this Boston Celtics. Everyone's back. Everyone's paid. Everyone's happy. Maybe the question is, are they too happy pulling up to the year? Maybe they can catch folks off guard that way. But this team is the same team we saw last year, and everyone's paid. So I think it's all positive things coming out of Boston. Joe Mazzulla was a question mark that a lot of people had throughout the years, including myself. He now won the title, and he is continuing to pick up more and more experience. So, yeah, I'm not going to put the Knicks ahead of the Boston Celtics right now, even though it's interesting to see how much the Knicks have moved up the board in the last 16 months. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're definitely, I think, at a peak moment for Knicks value, at least for, I would say, preseason through the first month of the season. Like, you're probably going to get a better price on like, if you like the Knicks, just wait. Like, just wait. They're going to have to integrate a bunch of new pieces, even though it's like, but the Nova guys, okay, sure. But like, these are pro players and they have different tendencies. They're going to have to figure out how to play together under Tibbs. And so, like, just wait a while and you'll probably be able to get a better price on them, even if you like them as an upset potential versus the Celtics. They were designed to beat Boston. Like, that was my big takeaway from this trade is like, you add Cat, you add Mikal, you're more switchable, you have more shooting. They're designed to beat Boston. Now, doing it is the problem because Boston's so good at what they do, but we'll see if they can get it done as the season progresses, including starting on opening night. All right, so the New York Knicks go here next, and I'm actually going to jump here, Sean. I'm not going to take the next lowest number on the board because much of Action Network is in on this team. I am circling on this team as well. I think this number is preposterous. So I'm going to give you the Knicks at 8-1 versus the Phoenix Suns at 30-1, plus 3,000 for the Phoenix Suns at only 3.23% implied. You want Knicks 8-1 or Suns 30-1? Which of those do you like better?
Yeah, I'm taking the Knicks 8-1.
What?
That's where I'm at. I think that is a classic. Add another leg to the parlay and see the number go up, and somehow you went to place a single, and now in your cart there's a 5-leg parlay because the number is just so enticing that you can't help yourself. I don't have any confidence that team, which showed me nothing. Now I do think every single year, and that's partly why I have the Knicks down the board where I do, is that, as you mentioned, they haven't played together yet. Teams in their first year that get together never do anything, and we get fooled every single time coming in. Oh, look at what the Suns just put together. They're going to be a massive issue in the West. They weren't. Coming in this year, I mean, 30, 32, 31, 30-1 is a big number. But when we're talking about going through the evenly settled, not so much top heavy like the East West, I just don't see how they can get through that many teams with the roster construction that they have down there in Phoenix. Why do you say it's preposterous? Just because it's just so long?
Because, I mean, look, so part of this, I think that this market overweights that Western Conference being quote unquote brutal. I'm not saying there's not a lot of good teams. There's a lot of really good teams. And there's the numbers last year, both from an advanced statistical mark and the win totals in terms of actual wins would show you that. Like, these are all really good teams. I'm not denying that. But Wolves another year older. They lose Towns. They add Randall. And DiVincenzo. Most everyone agrees it's a downgrade. The Nuggets are replacing KCP with Christian Brown. They add Russ, who's obviously a huge wild card, can go really good or really terribly moment to moment, and Dario Saric. The Nuggets might be a little underrated, but everyone agrees they got worse. OKC's at the top, and they're really awesome. But Phoenix adds Mike Budenholzer, who theoretically, this is the reason I've held off until preseason on them. I want to see them shoot threes, but I have never seen a Mike Budenholzer team that didn't shoot threes. And if the Suns start shooting from three, that's going to make their offense elite, and the defense was already pretty good. They added better depth. This is a window here. When I look at the rest of this board, and I'm looking at numbers for some of the rest of these teams that are so much different than the Suns at 30-1, based off of a bad playoff run and a year where Book and Beal got hurt early and missed a lot of time. Beal's going to miss time. I'm not denying that. But they had Tyus Jones, who we all agree is good.
Yes, they do.
For me,
and they much needed Tyus Jones as well.
So this is kind of the key of it. Do I feel more confident about the Knicks getting past the Celtics or the Suns getting past the Thunder? Let's just frame it in those terms. You got to get through the rest. I'm not denying that. Suns face the Wolves again. Am I going to be concerned about the matchup? Yeah, I'll be concerned about it. But if we just label it as who's at the top and who do you have to get past, okay, I feel more confident in the Suns getting past the Thunder, who everyone agrees is the best team, than I do about the Knicks getting past the Celtics, who everyone agrees that are the best team. So at 30-1, I think they should go ahead. But you disagree, and that's okay. You're a homer. Not homer. I don't know what to describe. You're a company man. That's a better way to do it. Cash them checks, Sean Little.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Knicks 8-1 goes third. Now we've got Suns 30-1 versus the Denver Nuggets. Best number in the market is only 12-1. That's a 3.2% versus 8% implied. Who do you want between the Suns and the Nuggets?
I have the Nuggets. I think when you say preposterous for a number, that's how I felt when I'm seeing the Nuggets at 11-ish to 1 here. I know they lose KCP to Orlando, and boy, does Orlando have some dogs over there. I cannot wait to watch the Orlando Magic. You know how we always have the league pass squads, Matt. They are at the top of I might watch Orlando every single night. just grind it out and just watch them just try to disintegrate people on a possession-to-possession basis. But, yeah, I mean, when we're talking about Jokic and the team that gave them problems dismantled, I see Denver being 11-1, being undervalued and being too short. Now, we'll see how – for some reason, man, I'll be completely honest. I do fall into this, when is Jokic going to stop caring as much? He cares. But I have this, I can't shake it mentally where it's maybe one day he's just going to be no, maybe I don't want to every possession carry these guys every single game, especially when we get to the playoffs. I can't shake that little mental piece. But when we're talking about a team, when they have their guys ready to go, they're all very familiar. I'm interested to see who's going to step up and fill that spot for KCP. But that's the only reservation I have. They add Westbrook, who is a wild card. Sarge is probably an underrated addition, as you mentioned. But Westbrook, can he bring something that they didn't have before? Can he bring some energy? I think if we're being fair to Russell Westbrook, the only place that he really deserved any negative chatter was on the Lakers, and that still was probably overblown. every other place he's gone, he has impacted greatly. So I don't see why he wouldn't go in a winning culture like the Denver Nuggets, who are solidified in who they are. They don't have too much to figure out. Why he can't be a little gasoline on that fire when it comes to the playoffs here in the West.
Okay. I think the Nuggets, the way I've kind of gotten to on the Nuggets, ESPN's projection for them was 47.4 wins, which Nuggets fans are obviously like, what are you, blah, 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 blah. I was like quietly like, I only have them a little bit above that.
Right.
Now I had them lower last year and they won 57. Like I had them below 50 last year. They won 57 games. So that's one of the reasons I'm staying away, is just like Jokic might be good for 50 every single fucking year. Like it just might be that simple, is like Nikola Jokic, if Nikola Jokic doesn't get hurt, knock on wood, then they're going to win 50 at least every year. That just might be the reality. I do think this team will be underrated come playoff time. I think there's a very good chance that this team struggles to integrate Russ and Christian Brown into the starting unit, and Dario Saric, and a bench that's still very young, and that there are times of trouble. Yeah. And I think they could get to the end. But here's my thing is like, look, if you get into a playoff series, I'll take Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and some dogs on defense. I'll take those guys against most teams.
Yeah.
And especially, whose group chat was probably popping with relief and happiness gifts on Friday night when Karl Anthony Towns got traded from the Wolves? The Denver Nuggets front office group chat. I'm going to bet that there's some relaxation there of like, whew, okay, if that helps. Even though it'll still be tough in the West. All right, so Nuggets go fourth. I'm going to keep trying to find a spot for the Suns team. 30-1. Again, Sean, 30-1 for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker with Tyus Jones and Mike Budenholzer, or the Milwaukee Bucks with Dame and Giannis, 14-1 at 6.7% implied. Between Suns and Bucks, who do you like?
Yeah, you got me. That's where I'm at. They're right next to each other on my price finder board. I have the Suns here at 31-1 is where I saw it. Going back to our conversation that we just had about the Suns, I think overall the best play, we're talking about winning titles and all that stuff, is playing over 47.5 wins. That would be the slip I would print, especially with a guy like Budenholzer coming back into the fold, who was, in his eyes, I'm sure, unfairly removed from Milwaukee in the first place. Felt like he should have stayed and been in the mix until he was ready to move on. I know Giannis, runs a lot of things that go on over there, but I feel like internally he has to feel like he has a lot to prove. Coming back into this regular season, Budenholzer always been a big regular season guy. Maybe that was fueled a little bit by Giannis as well, but I expect them to be better in the regular season and potentially position themselves to have a bit of a run in the postseason. The Tyus Jones addition is the big key here, because throughout the years, I think overall the league has become very obsessed with three-point shooting and quote unquote 3-and-D guys. But no matter what, you need a point guard who is extremely comfortable with the rock in his hands all the time and is willing to orchestrate the offense and run it, because partly as the trait that is not given enough credit to a point guard is that they are sacrificing a lot of what they can do offensively and stuff, because they're worried about getting other guys involved and actually running the team. I think that's the biggest thing that is undervalued about just point guard play in general. And that team in Phoenix really, really needed that last year. And Devin Booker showed a lot of sacrifice, actually, that, hey, okay, fine, I guess I'll run the point because we don't have any other option here. But that's not what D-Book wants to do, right? So the Tyus Jones addition is massive for them on the creation side. And then the other underrated thing is a pure big in the playoffs. Like no one cares about bigs, so it's like, man, really love a guy to bang around and pick up rebounds here. Like that's what we need in this spot, right? So the Tyus Jones, I think Plumlee in Phoenix could be interesting as well. So we'll see there. But over 47.5 wins, I'm going to print. This is where I got him right above Milwaukee on the price finder. 30-1 is extremely long.
Okay. All right. So Phoenix Suns go fifth on the board there. Lots of good points there. I think one of the key things is there was an idea of, look, let's just have Book run point because he's a really good passer. And like the ball in Devin Booker's hands is better Like, that's a great option. And it's true. It just winds up being true that, like, it does wear on him. I think that's
Yeah.
part of it. Is like the great addition of Tyus Jones means that they don't have to just be like KD and Booker do something every single possession. And that means Beal doesn't have to do as much, which could keep him healthier. Like, Tyus is going to help them in a ton of ways. And I've always been a Yusuf Nurkic skeptic. Statistically, 2018 was his best season, but I think last year was his best year in the league. And I'm pretty high on them, and I'm getting higher on them as we get closer to the season. This one I am actually betting. You're going to see this one in the Action Network app after we get off this pod. All right. So the Milwaukee Bucks 14-1. I'm going to give you another long shot here because I think this number is way too long. The Memphis Grizzlies at 40-1. This is 6.7% versus only 2.4% implied. You got Memphis. Ja says he's happy, and a happy Ja is a scary Ja. You got Zach Edey, big man in the middle. They've added a lot of offensive coaching to try and get the half-court offense up. They're older. They're wiser. They suffered through those embarrassing exit and then last year's just miserable season from hell versus a Bucks team that says that they're working on getting on the same page. Dame says he's in a much better mental place. Doc Rivers continues to say how hard of a job he has for a job that he just wound up taking. Bucks at 14-1 versus Grizzlies at 40-1. What's the better value?
So I have these squads all three in a row. It's Suns, Bucks, Grizzlies, but I do have the Bucks right ahead of the Grizzlies here at 13-1 is what I was looking at. We'll get to the Grizzlies in a bit. Shout out Taylor Jenkins, one of the best beards in the league. But I'm just such a big Giannis believer. That's the key here, right? Like, if you are a big Giannis believer, you have to give them a little cred and kind of slot them in that potentially 6, 7, 8 range of where you think they belong to win the title. But yeah, I mean, shout out our guy J Money is Money. He talks about, he talked about Dame coming off the divorce and dealing with a lot of different stuff in his first year moving from Portland to Milwaukee, and they go through a new coach, and then they go through a coaching change mid-year. A lot of different stuff going on, and then it got to the point where Giannis was just like, I'm doing this shit by myself. Forget about it. And, that's not how you get shit done here in the NBA. Middleton, of course, the overall roster has been old. Middleton expected to be out to start the year this year. They add Gary Trent Jr., which I love. I think that's a great addition, and I think you'll even get better ball out of Gary Trent being in a spot where it's not the Pistons, and there's going to be a better culture overall. If you believe in Doc Rivers or not, he still is now on a full off season and a full year ready to go. So out of respect for Giannis, the addition of Gary Trent, Dame, I still have question marks on that Dame-Giannis relationship regardless. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. I'm skeptical about it overall. We'll see how they look on the floor when they come out, but out of pure respect for Giannis, out of pure respect for Dame and the addition of Gary Trent, and Bobby Portis is still a really, really impactful dude. That's where I have him slotted right above Memphis, who's 5 is tough.
Okay. So Bucks go 6 on our list. Let's do Grizzlies at 40-1. This next team is not like, it seems like I'm down on them because I have them this far down. It's not that. It's just that the number sucks. Sixers are only 10-1.
Yeah.
Like, the Sixers are only 10-1 here, but like, I got to put them here. They got Paul George and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. They're a damn good team in the East. Like, I don't think that they're far off of the Knicks. Honestly, I think those teams are pretty even. But when we have the injury history of Joel Embiid, like, if this was just like Knicks or Wolves, I would have or Knicks or Sixers, I'd have a really hard time like picking between them. But the injury stuff like gets me to this spot. Grizzlies 40-1 or Sixers 10-1. Which one do you like better?
This is a tough one. I have the Sixers above the Grizz.
Okay.
Because 10-1 is short. And on paper, they're loaded, right? Like, this is a very good on paper type of conversation. They add PG. Caleb Martin is a great addition in my eyes. I believe Eric Gordon and Reggie on a minimum is really good business for Philly. They move off of Tobias Harris. They don't have to worry about whatever your thoughts and opinions are of Tobias Harris. There were stretches where he played really good ball. There were stretches that he didn't play really good ball at all. It was just time for him to move on and go somewhere else and for them to try another complementary type of player that could impact with Maxey and Embiid. So I'm happy to see him go to Detroit. But Tyrese Maxey is a monster. And we talked about this in the MVP finder. I would not be shocked if you saw Maxey taking the same amount of shot attempts as Joel Embiid starting this year. And you made some really good points about Paul George being willing to relinquish what's going on to other guys. Like, hey, I'm just here to try to steer us. I'm here to get us over the top. I'm not here to lead us to the mountaintop. I'm here to push us over once we get to the pinnacle, right? So they on paper are really good. I think Kelly Oubre is awesome. I think that squad overall is really good on paper. So we will see, and we have a lot of health concerns, of course, but that team can be special. And I think that's why you see 3 of the top 4 favorites to win the title are out of the East. It's because Philly, people are optimistic on what they can do. So I got them ahead of Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, look, a good way to kind of pin this is, look, who do you want, Ja or Embiid? Again, let's say they're healthy, okay? You want Embiid. Like, you just do. I love Ja. I think he's the most fun player to watch in the league, or at least among the, like, top 3. Yeah. But you would want Embiid. Okay, do you want Maxey or do you want Bane? You want Maxey. Like, I love Desmond. Desmond, I think, is a motherfucker, but you want Maxey. All right, do you want Paul George or Jaren Jackson? Gets real close, but I'll take PG for the scoring ability, and he's still pretty good on defense. Okay, so top 3 all go Sixers. And it's not like you look at Memphis and they're like, man, what an incredible amount of depth. Like, that's not what you wind up feeling like. So I get it. I think the price on Memphis is wrong at 40-1. But I do think that the Sixers do have enough value there for them to go ahead of them. I like your call there. All right, Grizzlies 40-1 or Wolves with now Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo after a Western Conference Finals appearance, but they lose Cat at 11-1. This number went up for a minute over the weekend. It bounced up to 10-1, and then the win total, I think, got bet under after the trade, and that corresponding, the derivatives all went down, because I saw this jump from 11-1 to 10-1, and now there's 11-1s back in the market. 11-1 Wolves or 40-1 Grizz. What do you like?
Yeah, this number's flat out too short. So I'm going to take the Grizz. It's Grizz, then it's Timberwolves right behind them. When we talk about the Knicks haven't played together, this Minnesota Timberwolves team hasn't played together, and you haven't experienced playing with Julius Randle until you play and experience playing with Julius Randle. I think they have a lot of adjustments upcoming here. And the reason we're talking about and we're so high on Minnesota coming in last year, me and Joe Dallaire picked them to win the West as our long shot last year. They were right on the door there to potentially knock on it to get to the finals. Was because they had the size and it showed to deal with Denver. Now they don't have that. There's just a lot of questions now. For a team that I didn't have many questions about literally last week, and we talked about, can Ant on the prize finder for MVP take that next step where he's at 30 a night? And could he be the engine with the other guys around still? Now you got a bully engine in Randall. Dante is going to want his shots in a new situation. There's a lot of question marks and a lot of things going on in Minnesota that I think 11-1 is too short. So I have to go with the Grizz at 40. Ja, Smart, JJJ, Bane, and Edey is a strong 5. Brandon Clark now going to be all the way back off of that Achilles. Kennard off the bench can shoot it. He's one of the best spot up dudes on the 3 in the league. When we're talking about the playoffs, if they stay healthy, we say this all the time, you're going 7 deep. They have 7 guys that could play. So I'd take Memphis at 40-1 before I printed Minnesota at a short 10.
I may have to bet them just because I know that by like on January 1st, if they don't have another season from injury hell, knock on wood, I'm going to be like, why the fuck did I bet Grizzlies at 40-1? Like, why did I not just to have the I'm sorry, but just to have the ticket. I'm not putting like major play on it, but just like some of these numbers really. A big thing for you to listen to as a listener on this price finder. Listen to some of these numbers and then consider the fact that we've had a different NBA champion in each of the last 6 years. And we talked about this, that the Celtics are plus 340 and the next closest is 700. Like, I'm not. There was a comment made by an NBA analyst this week that I don't see any reason why the Celtics won't win the title again. And I was like, I don't know, fucking recent history. Like, like my only thing is the Celtics should be the favorites. The Celtics should be the favorites. You should expect them to win. They should have the highest probability. They should be. It's right that they have the highest win total. All of these things. We're not playing the under on the Celtics. We're not going back against them. We talked about that on win totals. Or at least we did with Brandon. I think some of the other guys may have ideas. But just, look, the NBA has built a parity system. Some of these numbers are not in correspondence with where we're at as a league. And I find that very fascinating. All right.
Let me ask you this really quick before we move on. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a number out there on a prominent book that has odds for the Celtics to three-peat. What do you think it is? Yes to three-peat.
Yes to three-peat.
So win the title this year and next.
All right, it's got to be 30 to 1.
It's 10 to 1.
What?
It's plus 1,000.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Plus 1,000. Right. That's so. Yeah, that gives you an idea of what some numbers that are floating out there around the Boston Celtics.
Ridiculous. Okay. All right. Let's go to this one. Let's do. You took Grizzlies over Wolves, so now Wolves versus the Dallas Mavericks. They're both 11 to 1, best number in the market.
Matt, I have the Dallas Mavericks number 1 on Price Finder. I have the Dallas Mavericks number 1 on Price Finder at 11 plus 1,100. Luka is truly a force of nature. Looked slim in media day. We talk about it. I talk about it all the time. If Luka Doncic, the way he plays ball, he needs to be in tip top shape. Matt talked about Devin Booker running point and being worn down. Luka constantly looks worn down in the fourth, especially when it comes to the playoffs late in games. When we talked about the trade constantly last year. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, what a move, complements Kyrie and Luka perfectly. They're just getting warmed up. Those guys PJ Washington only played 29 regular season games before the playoffs started. Him and Luka played roughly 50 games. I didn't look how many games Luka missed when he did, but when PJ got over to Dallas, he only played 50 games, including the playoffs. Klay Thompson, he may take 10 fucking dribbles the entire season.
It's true.
He may take 10 dribbles in 82 games. He is going to stand there, catch, and fire. And the more options that Luka has, the more things open up for himself. And guys like PJ and the rest of the guys around, I am very high. At 11 to 1, I just saw this team go in and beat up a team that beat up Denver in Minnesota. It's a better matchup, as we know, for Dallas, other than Denver. But when we're talking about teams, dude, the Boston Celtics are 3 to 1. The Thunder are 7 to 1. And I just saw a man that walks on water and Luka Doncic go to the finals. And he had that run, and every single year throughout his career, he's just taken that little step closer and closer and closer. I gotta back the Mavs here at 11 to 1. Number 1 on my Price Finder. Also, I'm a freaking massive Quentin Grimes guy. I think he'll be impactful throughout the year. The additions they made, I think, address the weaknesses that they had in the middle of the year when they added Washington, Gafford. Then they go get Grimes. Luka's now 25 years old. He is going to get closer and closer. And then Kyrie has proven that he's Kyrie. 11 to 1. I'll take Dallas all day. Number 1 on my Price Finder.
Okay, so I'm in the opposite place of you in that I have all of these Mavericks regular season things. Like I'm betting Mavericks over, Mavericks 55 plus, Luka MVP, and I talked about it on the season long props. Like I'm trying to find a book to give me Luka Doncic to lead the league in points, parlayed with Luka Doncic to lead the league in assists. Like, I'm just trying to find anybody that'll let me do that because I just think he's going to have a massive regular season. And I think the Mavericks are going to be awesome. I have them power rated very high, but I'm going the other way, which is last season they were kind of like in the regular season and then awesome in the playoffs. I'm playing the other way this year. Awesome regular season. And then I think teams will be able to not solve them. I don't think they'll have the fortune that they did last season in the playoffs. So I disagree, but I understand where you're coming from because I am just as high on them from a regular season and overall team quality standpoint. Okay, so the Wolves now for the last spot in the top 10. Wolves 11-1. And this is a team that there's 4 teams above them, and I cannot get my brain around why. I'm going to give you this one because this is a number thing. Wolves 11-1, Western Conference finalist, or the Cleveland Cavaliers at 60-1. Which one do you want?
Oh, I didn't see 60-1. I saw 40-1 for the Cavs. Like I saw 50-1 for the Pacers. There's a 60. I didn't see a 60. That is actually really interesting, but I won't change up now. That's where I have the T-Wolves. Just out of what if it does work? Like we got
everyone when they traded for Rudy Gobert, everyone when they traded for Rudy Gobert was like, are you stupid? This is the worst trade in history. This is awful. They're never gonna do anything. Like Brandon Anderson told me they wouldn't win a playoff series. And then they made the Western Conference Finals and they looked awesome. And I'm not saying it's the same thing. It's not. This is like they are worse. I wrote that. Like they're worse now.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not that much worse.
Yeah, I think sometimes, we're in the business of making things very black and white. Knicks got better, Timberwolves got worse. Let's write off the Timberwolves. I guess I do have them down my list on the price finder, but I can't have the Cleveland Cavaliers ahead of them. They got a lot of guys over there now in Minnesota, and if it does work and they can figure out how it's going to work, I wouldn't be surprised if they started really, really slow and try to figure out how they're going to manage the ball. I think that's the best way to put it. I wouldn't be surprised if they started slow, but I wouldn't be surprised if you looked up and they were competing a lot better than we thought. So I can't put them ahead of a team in Cleveland where my entire cap would be Evan Mobley's going to take the leap that we've been waiting on forever. So that's why I got to take Minnesota here ahead of Cleveland.
Okay. I'm really excited for. There's gonna be Finch will probably deploy a lineup that's gonna be Dante DiVincenzo at point next to Ant, Jaden McDaniels with Nas and Rudy Gobert, and that lineup I think is gonna be absolutely monstrous. That's not their best 5. I just think it's gonna be a really killer lineup if they can figure out ways to get to it. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit faster on this next 10, then we'll go super fast on the bottom because none of those teams are winning the title. But I'm going to make you choose anyway because it's like if you had to bet on those teams. All right, Cavaliers 60-1 or Lakers 40-1.
Cavs, because they've proven that they're not going to have to worry about the play-in. They're going to be in the playoffs in the East and they'll be competing. They just are bumping into some of the better teams in the East and they can't compete.
Yeah, I'm betting the Cavaliers 60-1. I'm just letting everybody know that right now. This is a 1.64% implied at 60-1. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Donovan Mitchell?
I didn't see 60. 60 is crazy.
Yeah. All right. Lakers 40-1 or Warriors 45-1?
Yeah, I mean, can we tie goes to the runner? I don't know. I will say I'm down on the Warriors, so I'll take the Lakers because we talked about potentially a guy in win share in Anthony Davis that was towards the top of the league. He played a ton of games last year and he was healthy, and that was always the big question mark coming in. We know LeBron has a ton of juice left. I'll take the Lakers.
Okay. Warriors at 45-1. I have this other team high out of just respect for the organization. I don't love them as much as some of the teams I've actually had below them. I need to respect them. Warriors 45-1 or Heat 50-1.
Heat 50-1. I'm down on the Warriors. I will say this. I'll be blatantly honest. I am a massive Jimmy Butler fan. Himmy Buckets is on the board here. Like, that's my guy. I got him on the pin board. One of my favorite Bulls of all time. I think we're getting to the days of Jimmy Butler is collecting a massive check, and he's going to have flashes of being super impactful, but the toll is too much on his body, I think, at this point in his career. And he's not a guy that we're going to be able to depend on for 2 series, not even close to 3 series in a grind of an NBA playoff. So that's where I'm at when it comes to Miami, but I will take Miami.
Okay, I'm excited to find out where this Warriors team lands.
Yeah.
Warriors 45-1 or Pels at 55-1. Pelicans or Warriors?
I am. I'll say this before I answer that question. When are the Pacers gonna show up here? Because I think they're they buried.
They're down there. Do you want to jump the Pacers up?
Kinda, they're
There's
so deep.
There's a 66-1 in the market.
I think
I'll bump them up for you.
I think 66-1 for a team that we just saw in the Eastern Conference Finals play extremely well, super young.
Best offense. I think they're the best offense in the league, even with the Celtics finishing 1 last year. Let me ask you this: do you want We'll go back up. You want Pacers or Heat?
Like, I would take the Pacers.
Okay. Do you want Pacers or Lakers?
I would take the Pacers.
Do you want Pacers or Cavs?
I would take the Cavs.
Okay. We'll put Pacers up there. They'll be 12th on this list. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like they've earned a little bit of respect and how deep they are with a veteran head coach. Carlisle will have those guys ready. Benedict is back. Like, I mean, they have a lot of guys that could play just deep. I know we talked about when it comes to the playoffs, they don't play that many guys, but I mean, I remember being in the Garden and people looking down the bench like, how the fuck are all these guys? Like, who are all these dudes?
Yeah,
like,
there was a lot of that.
Isaiah Jackson. Like, who are these guys? Play like, what is going on? So I think they earned to be a little bit up this list for sure.
Okay, I like this. I mean, look, I'm high on where the Pacers vibes are at. I just wrote their win total breakdown, and I was like, hey, I haven't projected under, but God, I love the vibe. Like, I loved everything I heard out of media day. I loved everything I heard out of off-season workouts. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to contain my joy for the Indiana Pacers because I love watching that team so much. All right, well, let's go back down here. Let's go back to Warriors or Pelicans, 55-1.
Pels. I think maybe this might be the time where we see them actually show up and get super busy. I mean, I hate the same fucking conversation we have every year. But when he's on the floor, this guy Zion is a true monster, right? So DeJounte is an interesting addition too. I think Pelicans. I think that's an easy one for me. And our sixth man of the year. That won't get a vote.
They're Jose Alvarado, baby.
Yeah,
GTA. So the reason I had the Pels further down is just my problem was, okay, if it's Lakers Pelicans last year in that play-in game, like, to me was like, yeah, the Lakers are gonna win this game, right? And so if it's like, I'm just like, are the Pelicans gonna be able to punch to weight with some of these teams that they have to face? With how tested they are, like if it's Pelicans versus like Mavericks, are they going to be able to like really punch to like play at that level? And we haven't seen them. They seem like they're a team that could have a great regular season, but I can't imagine them putting the answers together in the playoffs and playing with the requisite composure and intensity. But the talent, I think, is there. All right, Warriors keep sliding. Here's a good one: Warriors at 45-1, or the Magic at 65-1.
That is a really good one. The Magic aren't ready to make that big a move yet, and just KCP is not the answer to a team offensively. That is the question mark there. Like they have too much D. They have too many on ball guys, that's right? True. Like they need to get some guys that are there to purely get a basket. So yeah, that's where I'll draw the line, and I'll take Golden State, who added Kyle Anderson, underrated addition. So shout out Slow Mo. But yeah, that's where I'll draw the line, and I'll take the Warriors. But hey, man, Steph's 36. He hasn't taken a step though. I shouldn't even bring that up. But how impactful is Draymond going to be? Kuminga is coming along. Podziemski's coming along. Yeah, I mean, they'll be solid, but I just can't see them. I would be shocked if they were like really competitive when it came down to it in the West.
They may not have Steph may now have taken a step back last year, but if you look at the back half of his year, he leaned back like as far as you can go without stumbling backwards. That's kind of what the numbers say. Okay, so Magic go above the Warriors go above Magic. This next team, I actually feel like I kind of underrated here, based on a lot of factors, but just like there's one guy in particular that I have questions about in the playoffs. Magic at 65-1 or the Kings at 75-1.
That'd be an awesome series. I would love to watch
Yeah,
that
really.
that specific series.
Yep.
I mean, you can flip. This is we're starting to like flip coins down here, depending
Yeah.
on which way you want to go.
You got to bet on one. You got to bet on one.
I think I would take Sacramento because they have a lot of clutch guys, and they have a big that can do a lot of different things in Sabonis and DeMar and the rest of the gang. Offensively, the Magic would have a rough time, I think, keeping up with Sacramento in that instance. So I'll take Sac.
You said clutch. You're like they got a bunch of clutch guys, and I was like, really? I thought they had more guys at CAA. That's
Yeah, no.
poison brained. Okay.
Sniper Fox.
Okay. So Kings go above Magic. This one I had to put up there just for fun. Magic 65-1, or the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama at 150-1.
Hey man, I talked about Victor potentially being in the MVP conversation. The guy's going to average 27 points. If he averages 5 blocks, wins DPOI. I mean, who knows what they'll do? I would take the Magic because they just overall they're ready to compete a little more than potentially the Spurs are. But man, I think we might be undervaluing the type of stuff that Victor is getting ready to bring in his second year. Seems ready to me.
When I saw the photos and the fact that he's gained 35 or 25 pounds to 235, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Muscle Watch doesn't move me much. That one did.
Yeah.
All right. Spurs 150-1 or Rockets 150-1.
Spurs. They got 2 coaches on the team and Victor who could potentially go ballistic. And the second coach I'm talking about is Chris Paul.
Yeah, like the Rockets' pathway for them becoming a title contender involves so many jumps of guys that are so young. And it's like, but what about the Spurs and how young they are? And it's like, it's one generational all-time player being that good. And then like a bunch of freak matchup stuff happening where it's like, wait, are the Spurs going to make the Western Conference? Are the Spurs going to make the finals?
Yeah.
Versus like the Rockets, I don't have a sequence for them not getting caught. This one is just like this one is just sad. Rockets 150-1 or Clippers 125-1.
Yeah, not the Clippers.
Yeah.
Not the Clippers. It's they got a new arena. It's rough over there roster wise. I feel bad for them, man, because I think especially as a guy from Chicago, we've had a lot of owners throughout the years that it's very clear like they're not interested in trying to get wins and get pieces to compete year in, year out. And Ballmer was willing to do that. It just didn't work out for him in multiple different years, in multiple different instances. So I feel bad for Ballmer and the Clippers fans overall. But yeah, the Clippers aren't going to make any noise. And I might send the pod off the rails here, but is there any way Kawhi ends up somewhere else at some point in this campaign, which could flip the league in a lot of different ways? Stay tuned there.
I'm just trying to figure out how a team is able to justify the injury stuff for a trade. Like if you're like, we're trading Kawhi because we want to try and win a title, but it's like we could trade for him and him not be like, it's just tough, man. I think Harden is another one. If they go off the rails early, Harden, will play.
Oh, Harden picks up the phone. He picks up the phone too.
Okay, we will go lightning fast through these last 10. Okay, Clippers Hawks 125-1 or Hawks 60-1, 600-1. Sorry,
Hawks.
You want Hawks above Clippers?
Yeah, because I really could see that situation starting bad and getting ugly really quick. I'll just take the Hawks.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how far the Clippers fall here. Do you want Clippers 125 to 1 or Raptors 100 to 1?
Man, my man IQ. I love Emmanuel quickly. RJ, I'll take the Raptors because I'm a company guy.
Man. Nuts. Okay. All right. Clippers or Bulls?
Oh, Clippers. I've never been more down on a team that I deeply love. Like, I'm a Bulls guy through and through. I have never been least excited for a season. I'm 36 years old. In my 30-year career of remembering basketball, I even put the Bulls logo on my pinboard upside down, just like free falling down there, because I'm just down. I'm down on the Bulls. So yeah, I'll take the Clippers.
Okay. So let's go through. I'm gonna make you find a spot for the Chicago Bulls. Bulls, it's 1,000 to 1, or Blazers 1,000 to 1.
Blazers.
Oh my God! What does the Blazers winning the title look like, Sean?
Aiden said he's been drinking ginger shots and stuff at media day. Scoot said he liked the food last year. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Portland. But I mean, dude, this is like asking if I'd rather eat dog shit or cat shit. So it doesn't matter.
I get it. Okay, all right.
What we're talking about.
All right. All right. Bulls or Jazz? Jazz 1,000 to 1 as well.
I like Walker Kessler, so I'll go with the Jazz.
Okay.
Shout out Walker. Impact guy.
I think I know the answer to this one because there's a little bit of buzz around this team. That's an unfortunate pun, but Brandon's high on him. Brian Fonseca's high on him. Hornets 1,000 to 1 or Bulls 1,000 to 1.
Yeah, Hornets. The Bulls, okay. I think, are truly going to be in like 15, 16, 18 win window.
Then let's look at the Detroit Pistons, who lost 28 in a row last year. Don't get me wrong, this is a Pistons podcast, but if you had to bet on the NBA title between the Pistons and the Bulls, who you got?
That's where I'll draw the line. I'll take the Bulls because I can't.
Bulls better than Pistons. Okay.
Yeah, Bulls are better than the Pistons. There you go. That's it.
Pistons or Wizards?
The Pistons. I'll take.
Yeah, me too.
Tobias leads the younger guys to a couple wins.
And Wizards or Nets?
So the Nets, I just blanked on. Fernandez, daughter. Jordy? My girlfriend. My girlfriend's a first grade teacher, and Fernandez's daughter's in her class. So I'll take the Nets.
That's a great handicap there, Sean. Why you'll take the Nets to win the NBA title? Nobody bet the Nets to win the NBA title.
I live up the street, man. So yeah, Fernandez is in my girl's class. So shout out that's my love for the Nets.
Let's go through Sean Little's price finder. Thunder 7 to 1, Celtics plus 340, Knicks plus 800, Nuggets 1,200, Suns plus 3,000, Bucks plus 1,400, Sixers plus 1,000, Grizzlies plus 4,000. Mavericks plus 1,100, Wolves plus 1,100, Cavaliers 60 to 1, Pacers 66 to 1, Lakers 40 to 1, Heat 50 to 1, and Pelicans 55 to 1 is the top 15. Where is like the threshold for where you think that like, hey, you could actually consider like there's actually like this is bettable? What's like the threshold there?
Man, honestly, I think you can go 6 to 7 deep when we're talking about teams winning the title. Matt laid it out. It's tough to go back to back. That's why the Celtics being rolling out odds to win 3 in a row at 10 to 1 is absurd. But yeah, I don't know where we got jumbled up, but yeah, I got Dallas at the top. I got Dallas, the Dallas Mavs, then we're going the Thunder, Celtics, Knicks, Nugs.
Okay. I did not ask you about Mavericks until later. but I will go ahead and jump Mavericks up to number 1 spot for you. I'll let you slide that one all the way to the top. All right, that's gonna do it for NBA Price Finder. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. You can follow Sean on Twitter at Chicago Flow. Check him out on MSG Networks as well as with various things for the NBA, doing betting stuff over at Turner. You can catch him there as well with the NBA season. Hope you guys are having a great week. Tomorrow, we're going to do another Price Finder with Brian Fonseca because I think he'll have some different and special opinions, as Brian always does. So I'm excited for that because I think Brian's going to catch me off guard. Tune in for that. And then on Friday, we'll have Brandon Anderson's first NBA episode of the season. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. My thanks to David Payne and Tito Bonach for doing the production work on this episode. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Till then, let's get buckets.